This is Paul. Paul has been learning English for a long time. He spent years learning English at school, and currently he's taking private courses. Paul watches movies, TV shows, and listens to songs, all in English language of course. He always gets high marks in the final language tests as well. Now this makes you think that Paul is an excellent language learner, right? I mean, this is what his language teacher thinks at least. In fact, Paul is a good language learner. However, he has a bit of a problem. He says that he understands 80% of English he hears, but when he wants to speak, things get much more difficult for him. This happens especially if he's surrounded by people, as it is the case in the language classroom. So what makes speaking in a second language a difficult and sometimes even a dreadful task? Well, I'm afraid that there is no short answer to this question. Let's agree first that speaking is a complicated process and that we cannot isolate one language skill from others. Thus, speaking and listening are interrelated. Because a speaker has to process the information in mind before speaking, he or she has to choose the right words, arrange them in a certain way, and finally say them. Now imagine that this speaker is taking part of a conversation. He has to do all of this in real time. A speaker also has to monitor his speech, that is to listen to what he says and see if it matches what he really intends to say. These are some of the reasons that make speaking hard to master. Let's go back to our friend Paul. This feeling of having a dry mouth, butterflies in the stomach, and rapid heartbeat that makes Paul uncomfortable when he tries to speak is not something unusual. It's called speaking anxiety. What are the reasons of speaking anxiety? Well, according to studies, and as mentioned earlier, the nature of speaking skills can be one main reason. Also, the lack of opportunities provided at many schools, where students' role is to listen, and listen only. Fear of making mistakes is apparently a strong reason. Fear of being negatively evaluated by others. And another possible reason is the limited vocabulary knowledge. So if there is any obstacle holding you back from speaking English or any other language you're learning, or if you have speaking anxiety like Paul, then I have 3 pieces of advice for you. Number 1. There is no need to have fear from making mistakes. You have to realize and believe that it is so natural to make mistakes when you speak. I mean, think about it. We make mistakes every time we learn something new. And always remember that no one has the right to judge the way you speak, because simply English is not your first language. 2. After you convince yourselves that it's okay to make mistakes, it is so important that you start finding and identifying the mistakes you have and working correcting them. And this leads us to the 3rd point: practice. You can have your own comfy zone of practice. You can use your phone to record yourselves if you wish. You can talk to a classmate in English or find an English learning application. So the point is to find what suits you, to discover your own learning style. Alright guys, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know if you have any comments. Till next time, take care.